So for the past 3 years, manufactured home parks have been the biggest cash cow for corporate investors. They have been buying up as many manufactured home parks as they possibly can. And when they get in there, what do?
Linda's monthly rent for the land underneath the home she owns jumped nearly 60%.
This has become such a big issue, believe it or not, that even lawmakers are actually taking notice, and they're introducing bills across the country in different states to help residents that do live in manufactured home parks. I'm going to be sharing some of these bills with you, and you can tell me at the end if you think that this is just, politicians do what they do, flapping their lips, or do you think this really could help residents that do live in manufactured home parks? I'm going to be interested to hear what you have to say. For many of you may not know that in a manufactured home park, the people that live there, they usually own the manufactured home itself, but the land underneath it is leased. They only rent that specific space, but they plan on living there forever because the manufactured home that they live in can't typically be moved. If it is moved, it costs tens of thousands of dollars in order to have it moved to another location. Most of the time when they get that space, it's a space for a lifetime. Now, they can sell that manufactured home in the future, but they have to go through a different process than it would be for traditional home sales in real estate. Like, it isn't like selling your regular house. Even the loan process is really difficult because you can't get a typical mortgage on a manufactured home. It's a completely different thing. So these big time investors, corporate investors, know that it's a cash cow because they know that they're basically chained to that piece of land, and they can keep upcharging the rent on those to whatever they want. In many cases, knowing that the people can't afford it, so they're going to have to leave their house. The house is then left there basically free and clear for the investors to do whatever they want. In some cases, they sell out the whole entire lot to be put in for single family dwellings. In other cases, they are just going to find new residents that can afford the lot rent that is available to them. Then they'll be buying the manufactured home, and then they'll be leasing that little lot as well. So in Nevada, they have proposed to subsidize rents. And I know a lot of you are like, rent control, really? Let's just hear them out. According to NevadaCurrent.com, in Nevada, they aim to regulate the rent increases for mobile home park residents. The bill will prevent landlords from raising rents higher than the maximum annual rent, increasing percentage calculated by the Nevada Housing Division. The bill limits the annual rent increases to 60% to the yearly customer price index, which is measured by inflation. Landlords could apply for exemptions. The Manufactured Home Community Owners Association opposes the bill, stating that rent stabilization policies could ultimately harm housing markets. I don't know how it can harm housing markets when it literally is trying to make it more affordable for people. Everybody knows that inflation has done nothing but increase throughout the United States. And for right now, I don't think it would be necessarily a bad idea. So basically what this bill is saying is they want a rent cap. I know that some people are like, ew, rent caps are terrible. But you got to remember, I just want you to put in perspective, the people that live in these parks in most cases are on fixed incomes or low income families. Some kind of rent cap, maybe? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section, because I know that is just one proposal, and that's out of Nevada. Now, Montana is looking at it in a completely different way. They're basically proposing a bill of rights for people that live in manufactured home parks, just like they would for people that live in apartment buildings or condo associations. The Montana Landlords Association has opposed the bill, which was designed to revise the Residential Mobile Home Lot Rental Act. The bill would prevent mobile home park owners from creating month-to-month lease agreements, require year-long leases instead, and increase the amount of time that tenants would have to correct payment issues from 7 days to 45 days. So if a person was late on their rent payment in Montana more than 7 days, the mobile home park owner can evict them. They have the right to evict them after 7 days. Now, this bill introduced is giving them 45 days to correct the issue, which would be very similar to people that are living in apartment complexes. People that oppose the bill say it's too long. It's giving too much grace to the renters, and it's not giving enough power to the landlords. But in my opinion, 7 days really isn't enough time to clear up any kind of issue with money. 7 days, I mean, that's just one paycheck. And remember, in most cases, these are low-income families that are dealing with this, and a lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck. So if you just gave them, maybe let's just split them the time in half, not 45 days. Let's give them 25 days. That gives them another week or two to get the money together. I don't think that's a bad idea. I hope they can come up with a compromise on this. 45 days may seem too long, but 25 days to me seems more reasonable. You let me know. So that was in Montana. So if you live in the state of New Mexico, you might have noticed there is a Mobile Home Park Act that is supposed to protect residents in mobile homes that wouldn't have faced these kind of problems with excessive rents. There are laws on the book that are supposed to protect them, but none of them have been enforced. Many residents that live out there, they have been asking the district attorney to investigate these situations, and the district attorney just keeps on passing the buck, saying, you're going to have to go ahead and file your own lawsuit. We're not going to prosecute. So the act really isn't doing anything to help any of the residents there. A lot of them have already been evicted from their homes, even though there's laws in the books that are supposed to protect them. So there was a bill that was introduced that was supposed to cap rents, but the bill kind of went to the wayside. They just failed to even look at it, even vote on it. But they're hoping that it will be revisited again. When we think about lawmakers and these types of bills and the people that are investing in these companies, which are usually huge hedge funds and corporate investors, they have a lot of deeper pockets. And in my brain, I'd like to think that politicians are trying to look out for the little guy. But in the world that we live in now, everybody knows that nobody's looking out for us. And I can't help but wonder, why is it these bills are sitting on their desk when they know they need to be addressed, but they just can't seem to find the time to vote on them? I mean, do you think that it's just that they didn't have time to vote on it? Or do you think that maybe a corporate investor greased their pockets to kind of hold off for a little bit longer so they could make a little bit more money off of these manufactured home parks? Do you know what I found out recently, by the way, is that during the pandemic, when interest rates were so incredibly low, these corporate investors were given really low interest rates to buy big properties like this, like these manufactured home parks. Not only that, they fixed them up over a short period of time, so it made them more valuable just by doing just a few things like fixing lights and roads. So they were able to refinance the original manufactured home park and then buy another one using Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who's supposed to be protecting people in affordable housing options. They say that they're working with the private sector to help with the public sector to have more affordable homes, but in turn, it's actually done the exact opposite. When Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have given them these loans, they've done nothing but make it harder for people to have more affordable homes because they got cheaper loans to make it better-ish. They didn't make it better-ish, they made it more livable because a lot of these home parks were in a dilapidated state that they needed to be addressed. They addressed them, they took that money, charged more in rents, and then they took the increased value and bought another manufactured home park and did it again. It's like the snake eating the tail. And we're never going to win if we keep giving cheap money to the private sector to fix our affordable housing problem. It's not working. We need a better system. It's not just corporate investors that are displacing homeowners of manufactured homes in parks. Sometimes there's expansions that are done throughout the city. Matter of fact, in Arizona, there was a college that needed to expand, and they had purchased the manufactured home park knowing in the future that they were going to have to make arrangements for the people that lived in that park to make the expansion. The thing is they've known about it for years. Some of their solutions were pretty pathetic. In one situation, they told them, well, because you feel like you're going to be homeless, you could always file for the federal voucher program and get your house nearly 70% less than what you're paying now. The thing is anybody that knows anything about the voucher program when it comes to this, it takes months, years, decades to get approved for the voucher system. Yeah, sure, it would cover 70% of his rent if he was able to get in. It's kind of a joke and laughable to make this as a option for people that have lived in this manufactured home park for that long. I know there's going to be some of you in the comment section that are going to be like, well, I mean, they chose this. This is the life they chose. They could just go ahead and take the money that they would have used for renting that space and they can rent an apartment. But did you know that there's currently 7.5 million apartment homes that are needed in the United States? We do not even have enough apartment homes. There's over 3 million residential single-family homes that are needed throughout the United States. That's why we're in such a pickle right now with rent costs going up, home costs going up. We have not built enough homes, rental or for purchase. And the most affordable homes in the United States have done nothing but gone up. Even when you've seen other areas like going down in price, it's not for the most affordable homes. Remember a few years ago when all the people were saying, oh, all of the millennials are going back home. They can't find a house. They're losers. They're not working. It's that they can't find a home because there isn't anything for them to buy. There are plenty of people throughout the United States that have very good jobs, very good credit, but they do not have any homes for them to build. I've talked about this a gazillion times, and we have a shortage now of over 7 million apartment homes that are needing available. And we have a shortage of housing that needs to be available. And this is where I'm going to get my tinfoil hat on. This is the own nothing, be happy crowd, because everybody talks about this. There's this saying, if you own nothing, you'll be happy. And that's where basically corporations own everything. And we're just kind of paying our life to them. This is what I think is the biggest design of them all. I think they have purposely made it very difficult to make affordable homes. I think that they have manipulated the market so much that it makes it increasingly harder to build your own affordable house yourself. And I also think they know that when it comes to people that live in manufactured home parks, nobody really cares about people that are on the low income scale. They know that they have no way to fight them, but in some cases they do. I'm going to tell you about this, and I love it. I love it when the little guy wins. So let me show you this. So Fortune magazine just came out with this article. It talks about how the residents are able to buy the manufactured home parks. I've talked about this before. The residents of that specific mobile home park went ahead and bought the park itself. Like, they all got together. They created basically a little mini HOA. They went to the bank with the help of Rock USA. They showed them the way of getting this done. And they created a co-op, very similar to like a condo association, where everybody pays a little bit in to maintain the property, where everybody owns the manufactured home park. Everybody has a vested interest in the manufactured home park. So they're able to buy it before the big investors come in. And this is what I think should be proposed across the country. So if any manufactured home park is about to sell or is thinking about selling, it should be allowed for the residents to have the option to buy out the park before the corporation comes in. That way these people can regulate their own lot rents and they don't have to worry about being displaced. This takes a lot of effort because you need 100% participation with everybody that lives in the park. And some people are like, I just don't want to be involved. I just want to pay my rent and move on. They don't really understand the benefits of doing something like this. But if you know somebody that lives in a park and they're not sure what to do if their park is about to be bought out, I suggest telling them to go ahead and contact Rock USA and see if they can come in and help. I think over 300 parks across the United States, that estimate can be a little bit low. But at least it took it from the hands of an institutional investor that was going to either sell the land and displace those people or hike up their rent so they'd be displaced in another way. I'm all for a free and open market, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to manipulating a market and displacing people out of their homes just to make a buck, I think it's literally nauseating, especially when it comes to the most low-income families across the United States. We have to do something. Is it rent caps? I don't know. Is it a longer eviction time for people that haven't paid their lot rent? I don't know. Is it the ability for homeowners to be able to buy the park before an investor comes in? I don't know. But all of those things at least are ways that we could combat some of the problems that are happening. Which way do you think is going to be the best way to handle something like this? I do think that every state should have some kind of rights for manufactured home owners. They should be able to vote on that in every session, because having no rights whatsoever for people that are renting out a piece of land seems inhumane. To watch more videos about what's going on with the manufactured home parks, you're going to want to watch these videos right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters.